Alright my friends, how you all doing? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to a fresh episode of Planet Zoo and our Sandbox series, Hyland Zoo. Today we're going to crack on with another huge time lapse. It's another really long episode and I have to apologise for that once again because I'm trying to get these episodes down, but these bits at the beginning, these basic parts that the zoo needs have taken me so long, and obviously I'm not the fastest of builders either. I think my attention to detail it's definitely there, but I just take a little too long with the small details basically, and you're going to kind of see that in today's time lapse. If you haven't seen the last episode, my friends, where we finished off the entrance, got the ticket booths, and about 95% of the coffee shop done, be sure to go and check that out now. I will link it above, my friends. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button, and I really hope you're enjoying the Planet Zoo content and the Hyland Zoo series to this point. Now, let's get into today's episode, what we're hoping to achieve and what you're going to see during the course of the time lapse. At the moment, you can see I am finally getting round to making the sign and the zoo name, and this is going to take pride of place in the little plaza area as you come through the entrance. You'll see it get put in its final position. It is a slight change of colour when we get to the live section of today's episode to what you're seeing now. I just felt there was way too much mint green on this, so we do take that down a little bit. It's very subtle what we do, and you'll see how nice it looks in its final position. The other things we're going to try and do to, in today's episode, my friends, is you're going to see the majority of the main hub for the staff get made today. Now, in this main hub, there's going to be power, there's going to be water, we've got a staff centre, workshop, vets, research, and quarantine, and it's all in a main hub. I wanted this to be, the very first one in the zoo. There's going to be loads of other hubs in the zoo, I'm sure, but we needed one big main hub. I wanted it to be at the front, hidden to the side, and you're going to see in the live section there's a lot that you don't see me make in today's episode, unfortunately. This would have gone on, this episode, probably for about almost an hour had I used all of the videos that I recorded. My build time was close to 5 hours on this whole project, and that's including all of the foliage, all of the rocks, and every little piece of detail that I've done, which didn't just include this main staff hub. There was some stuff that you're going to see in the live section, a little security office, some paving, finishing off the car park, and we're pretty much done for the front of the zoo, which does mean that next episode we can get into the exciting stuff and we can start introducing some animals into this beautiful zoo. I'm really happy with what I managed to achieve as well. I'm really happy with the way it looks, and obviously we are going for a realism sort of look where this zoo is concerned, and I feel like we're definitely achieving that to this point. If you are new to the series and you don't know what we're trying to achieve, you want to know the sort of backstory, do feel free to go check out episode 1 of this series. I will link it above, or you can stay put, watch this one, and I will let you know, my friends. So basically, the big thing is that we are taking mass inspiration from two of my favourite places. So I have Hyland Park, which is close to where I live. It's a big country family park. I go over there quite often with the wife. We walk our dogs over there. It's a beautiful place, but it is so big, and I've always said to myself, there's so much empty space here, you could probably put a zoo on it. So what I've decided to do is take that idea, only we've moved Hyland Park into the city, and we are building our very own zoo. And this zoo, not all of it, but some parts of this zoo are taking influence from London Zoo, which is another one of my favourite places. I used to go there as a kid with my granddad, and my wife and I had one of our first dates there. So I just felt like it was a lovely little nod to a couple of my favourite places, and we can kind of combine that with this beautiful Planet Zoo game and make the most of it. Basically, you're going to see in the time lapse right now that we're actually making the name for the zoo on the entrance. You can find that font on the Steam Workshop. I will leave the link in the description below, my friends, if you want to use it. The fonts are very limited in the game, and some people are so talented, and on the workshop they've managed to make some very own fonts just using the pieces in the game. This is the sort of detail that is way beyond me, unfortunately. I'm sure if I had a whole day to sit there and make the alphabet, I could probably do it, but yeah, it was just easier to take this off the Steam Workshop. But I will give props to the person person who created it. Amazing stuff. And yeah, the link is in the description if you want to use that. So you're going to see, as I've already said, all this stuff coming together in the time-lapse. Another thing that I do want to say, my friends, is thank you to anybody that has headed over to the channel, hit that subscribe button, dropped me likes, and left comments on the videos to this point. Obviously, this is a very new journey. I'm not new to YouTube. I do have a second channel, or I call that my first channel because that's where it all started, my Fandango channel. That's all things football. But we needed a little hub for all of the other stuff that I want to do and try out. And so this is Fandango Extra, and this is where you're going to find all this stuff. I am going to start putting some other content on here other than Planet Zoo, but at the moment this is the main series, and this is what we're trying to do. It's still a learning curve. I've said this in every episode to this point, and my building style probably doesn't quite suit coming to YouTube and recording it just yet. I'm a little bit all over the place, a little bit slow, but I feel like I'm definitely getting into sort of a groove now where making these videos are concerned. I just need to really cut down the time if I can, and find a way of doing that. Maybe I need to chop my videos up a bit more, although I feel like I'm over editing a lot of the speed build stuff and time lapse stuff a bit too much at the moment. So you'll see in the time lapse the little sign for the zoo is going in place. We dropped this down actually because I didn't like the bit on the bottom. I was going to write something else on that, but I decided against it. We dropped this down, and its final resting place is quite beautiful. Now, my friends, where the time lapse is concerned, we now move on to this big staff hub. Now, I am going to apologise for bits and pieces of this missing. You're going to see that, like, some of the detail work, especially, not the main structural work, but the detail work, it goes a bit missing. Now, when I was going over all of my recorded footage, unfortunately, some of it was a bit corrupt. And for whatever reason it was freezing and then it was coming back, so those bits that are frozen, obviously I've had to chop them out and just make do. But I still show you some of the detail work that I've done. There's some stuff that I do on the roof where aircon units are concerned, which I think end up making this look fantastic, this area. There's my favourite word. I've used it already in every episode so far, but yeah, I think the roofs end up looking amazing. Lots and lots of detail. The one thing that I did have problems with is that I rotated this building too early, so I wasn't making it on the world axis. So when I was doing the detailing, I was having to be really finicky with every piece that I've done. So if you are playing Planet Zoo and you are making buildings, unique buildings that you want to place, make them on the world axis, and then you won't have this problem. I already knew this. It was just one of those schoolboy errors that you make from time to time, and yeah, it is what it is. So what I've tried to achieve where this area is concerned is to get all of the main staff facilities all in one place. So I've done that by disguising some stuff in certain buildings as well. So that big warehouse building that you've seen there, that now houses a water treatment unit, because we're going to have a habitat very close to this, so we've housed that in there. And then what we've then you're gonna see me achieve is that we do a quarantine area, and we do a trade center. We turn that into one building, but we join it up to this warehouse, and it makes it all look like one building. Now, my thinking behind this was that obviously when new animals arrive into the zoo, they don't arrive to the zoo and go straight to the enclosure. They will arrive, they'll go into a small quarantine pen, so they go into this warehouse, and then from there, that's where the decisions are made. That's why we've got the big door, the small door. It's quite a big building. Obviously the quarantine's there, the vets are going to be close by as well, and then you're going to see to the other side later on in the time lapse, we make a little staff room and we stick a little workshop on the side of it, make all that one building, but it all appears as one big hub. It's just a big staff center, so to speak. It's where everybody comes in when they turn up to work. They come driving up here, they either park up or they walk up, get changed, and then they go about their day. I just felt like this was the sort of thing that you would probably see in an open area of the zoo. We make a security checkpoint at the bottom, which I will show you in the live section of today's episode, because it's not involved in the time lapse. Also, there is going to be a smaller warehouse built that goes just to the side of the big one that you're not going to see built in the time lapse either. I had to cut it to keep this episode, to the length that I wanted it. At the moment, these episodes are so long, but I still want to try and keep them under sort of 40 minutes if I can, because it's such a long thing for you guys to sit and watch, and watching a load of game footage, 4 or 5 times speed sometimes gets a bit much, doesn't it? But yeah, you can see what I'm saying now. We join it all up, we achieve one big building as a result, and it ends up looking really, really nice in my opinion. This is where I was saying the quarantine, and then the trade centre goes on the side. We brick all this in, and then we put a path in and stuff, and yeah, it really ends up coming together quite nicely. And in the live section, you're going to see that all of that sort of car park area, that's all detailed. All of the foliage gets put in, and when you see how this ends up in the live footage, I'm sure you're all going to be astounded and absolutely amazed, what we've achieved and how great it looks. But the whole front end of the zoo, so the entrance, the coffee shop, ticket booths, and this staff area is all complete. All the foliage is in. There's just a small piece of sort of rock work that I want to do inside the plaza area, and then next episode, like I've already said, we can crack on with the first animal in the zoo. Now, I've got an idea of what animal I'm thinking of building in the zoo, because it's going to be quite a large enclosure, but I think it would sit quite nicely as you're coming into the zoo. I do need to make some more buildings, so I need to make, as we come into the zoo, I need to make sort of like a bathroom, and maybe like another sort of shop, or maybe like a gift shop or something. But what I'm going to do where that's concerned is I'll save that for another episode. I think we've done 3 full episodes of building now, and I think it's time we get an animal in the zoo, and I think it's time that I show you guys what I can do with habitats and things like that. But remember, we're trying to keep this realistic, so all of the outbuildings, all of the staff buildings that are attached to most habitats are going to all be in there. And also we're going to try and avoid blind spots, because that's a big thing in zoos. Staff needs to be able to see the animals at all times. And hopefully as well, my friends, when we get to doing the animals, I'll try and educate you a little bit on what zoos try to achieve with each species and the way they build the habitats. And we'll talk a lot about conservation as well, because I think a lot of the animals that I try to place in this zoo I want to be animals that are sort of threatened in the wild, so that we can play our part where the conservation is concerned in releasing animals back to the wild and sharing them around zoos and things like that. I want this to be like a proper project, how zoos go about their business. A lot of people don't realise the work that zoos do. Some think that they're just an animal prison, but they're not. They do a lot of work, especially for animals in the wild as well. So I think more needs to be said for what zoos do, especially in the climate and the world that we live in at the moment. But my friends, I think I've talked enough. You're probably going to get a hell of a lot of the time lapse today without me talking and just the music playing, but I think it's probably best for business that we do it that way, because it's been a slog basically. The minute that I finished doing all of the work, I basically have edited the video. I've come on, and I think that we'll just enjoy it together at the end in the live section. But my friends, if you have enjoyed it to this point, be sure to be hitting that like button. It's really appreciated by your boy. Drop a little click on that subscribe button as well if you haven't done so already, and hit that bell notification button so you never miss an episode of Hyland Zoo. I'll say all this again at the end when I see you real soon for the live section. Enjoy the time lapse. And so here we are, ladies and gents, at the live section of today's episode, and how fantastic does the zoo look to this point. We need to get through this part really quickly because obviously the time lapse run very, very long, and I want to try and keep this episode under 40 minutes if possible, but there's a lot to cover. So let's crack on with it because obviously this looks very different to what you would have seen in the time lapse. So first and foremost, the entrance is completely done. For whatever reason, some of this ivy has disappeared on this side, so I've got to go in and redo that. This is the final zoo sign. I said I'll change the colour. We put this in off cam as well. Some new planters in here. I think this looks great. I've done all this rock work. We're going to put something in here. I'll do that off cam as well. And the coffee shop is now finished. I've decorated all the outside. We've basically used the same colour in as we have out, and I've stuck some stuff up on the wall. It's all decorated inside and is looking great. And really, I should show you the finished article because I haven't done so yet. And this. Look at this, a great little coffee shop. Put the windows on, like I said I was gonna, and yeah, it's great. The other thing I've done in the plaza area is this little section. I said it's going to be a staff only path. We've done exactly that. So this is all finished now. So we can move on from this area and not have to worry. The car park is finito. This was all done off camera as well. I said last episode I was going to be doing that. And to finish off this little car park area, I made a security office as well. In here is a power station. So it has dual purpose, basically. Aesthetically, it looks amazing, but there's a power station in there as well. These little bollards are made out of pieces, shapes, and I absolutely love them. They didn't even take me that long to make, and I think I achieved something quite great with that. As you can see though, like I say with the car park, all the markings done. I just dropped shapes in to make the lines. We've done all the fencing. We've got entrance signs here, lights. We've done all this foliage just to fill all these gaps in because I think that was really, really needed. And then we come to the area that you would have seen in the time lapse today, ladies and gents. And it does look a bit different to what you see in the time lapse. You basically got the bare bones of what was being done. But I still think we've achieved amazing things. Like I've already said, we've got quarantine, research, workshop, staff room, vets, the lot, trade centre. It's all in this main hub. My thinking basically, ladies and gents, is that obviously new animals arrive, they come up here turn in, security would sign them in, they come up, park up in here, they go into this warehouse initially, and then obviously once it's all dealt with they go through into quarantine before they go out into the park. It's sort of how things would run. But yeah, with all the foliage and stuff, I think it looks really, really good. This is a custom built shed with a little green, like vegetable patch. I thought this is maybe something they would have. They all grow their own vegetables and that sort of thing. And then a Jeep that potentially some of the staff would use to get to certain places in the zoo should it be a little bit too big. And as you can see, the staff are all making the most of this area and absolutely loving life. But my friends, that is today's episode, and that is the zoo to this point. And I am sure you would all agree with me that this is looking pretty spectacular. And we now get the exciting part next episode of moving on and putting our first animal in the park. Now, as I've already said, I have an idea for what animal I would like to put in the park. But I am going to put it to you guys as well. If enough of you leave me comments with animals you would like to see, I will of course consider those. So my friends, in that comment section below, let me know what animal you would like to see first in the zoo. But my friends, we are done and dusted. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Hit the like button if you've enjoyed today's episode, and hit that bell notification button to never miss an episode of my Planet Zoo series, Hyland Zoo. But my friends, we are done and dusted. Remember, always get extra, and I'll see you next time.